Binu Miss, good evening. Binu Miss, good evening, Binu Miss. Binu Miss കട്ടായെന്ന് തോന്നല്ലോ നീലാണ് സാറേ.
രജിസ്റ്റർ മാം ഡിസ്കണക്ട് ആയിരുന്നു തോന്നുന്നു. സർ ഇത് യൂട്യൂബിൽ ലൈവ് സ്ട്രീം തോന്നുന്നു.
യെസ് മാം ഇതായെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു അല്ലെ. നമ്മളുടെ ആ ഒരു കാര്യം ചെയ്യുക, നമുക്ക് സൂമിന്റെ അഡ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഡിസേബിൾ ചെയ്തേക്കാവോ? ഇപ്പം 3:56 ആയല്ലോ.
അഡ്മിറ്റ് ആൾ കൊടുത്താൽ പോരാ?
അഡ്മിറ്റ് ഓൾ കൊടുത്താൽ മതി, ഡിസേബിൾ ചെയ്താൽ മതി. ബിനു മാഡം ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. ബിനു മാഡം ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തായിരുന്നു, ഇപ്പം എന്തായി ലെഫ്റ്റ് ആയോന്ന് അറിയത്തില്ല. ബിനു മാം ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, ലോഗിൻ ആകുന്നു. Binu ma'am, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening. Just 1 minute.
Okay. All set, no? Kindly share the screen, ma'am.
Yeah, just 1 minute. Let me on my audio. My audio is clear, no?
Yeah, you are audible, ma'am.
Good evening, madam. Neelakandan here.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll share the screen. It's okay, no?
Yes, ma'am. Can you just enlarge that things?
Yeah.
Perfect, ma'am. Fine.
Yeah. Okay.
So as you said in your screen, let's think how world was changed.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to discuss, but there is a request to all the participants. Why? Because again, we are going into 2-hour online mode, so the chat box should be really active, or otherwise it is going to be a boring game for me and for you.
Only 150.
So I think we have the vibrant participants, the Kottayam district teachers. As you told, I know they are really vibrant. So let me see how they are going to interact.
Not only Kottayam, ma'am, entire Kerala is here.
Kerala is there. Okay, fine. So we can give it a special appreciation for somebody who is interacting more or who interacts the best, who is really active. Some sort of appreciation is really needed at the end of the session. Neelakandan, sir.
Any special prize? Any special gift?
Yeah, special gift should be given by the coordinator, I think. From my side, I will give appreciation and an applause.
I didn't understand your question, ma'am.
We'll think about it.
Sir, I'm telling, we have a group, we have a really vibrant group of teachers here. Okay. And we should give some special appreciation at the end of the session for those who are interacting more.
Okay, you select and given
so
comment
who is
on
the
that,
passive whether active learners and passive learners, we have to discriminate that, and we have to distinguish.
No, you madam, you can choose and inform us who is a passive and who is an active learner. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
The participants, please mute your audio.
All the participants, please mute your microphone, and when asked only you have to open it.
Shoaib, is it possible from the admin side you can mute the audio?
I did, sir. It's okay.
Allergy idalla.
Now it's calm, right?
Yes, sir. Binu ma'am, you can unmute.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Good evening. Can I get in the chat box some intros of you also instead of simply putting good evening? Please give a small introduction from where you are with school so that I can have some acquaintance with the team here.
Including district, because school name is
include the
similar
district
to many
also.
places.
If you could put the district, if you could put your school, it would be fine. I should start, Ranjit sir, or is there any? Shall I start?
Ranjit sir.
Yeah, from Ernakulam, Chenganasheri, Idukki. Quite great. Isha Unnikrishan. What's your subject, madam? Isha Surendran from Malapura, from Kottayam. Quite great. So this is open for all, I think. Not only for the teachers of Kottayam district. Shall I start, Neelakandan sir?
Please, ma'am.
Yeah.
Actually, if you wait one more minute, Ranjit sir will give you an introduction and a welcome speech. One second.
Yes, I joined back.
Okay.
Multitasking purposes. That's why sometimes I will be leave the show.
Coordinator is really competent. As we are going to discuss the competency-based education, we have a real person who is really competent who is doing multitasking right now.
Neelendra sir, shall we start?
Yeah, please, sir. Please.
Okay. So, good evening, one and all assembled over here. As you know that Central Sahodaya Conclave and Council of CBE Schools of Kerala proudly organizing the webinar series in phase 2. The participants, can you kindly mute your audio? Fine. Okay. As I said, the Central Sahodaya Conclave Kottayam and the Council of CBE Schools of Kerala proudly organizing phase 2 webinar series for different subjects of secondary and senior secondary teachers and the competency-based education. It's a hot topic and a relevant topic nowadays. It's for classes 1 to 8. And upcoming sessions for learning outcome-based teaching also we are organizing. The phase 1, you know that it's a successful webinar series, and the takeaways, the best practices for the webinars are implemented our stakeholders schools too. This series also, I wish it's a fruitful and effective one. And as you know that today's resource person, Srimati Binu Raj, CBC resource person, Principal Sri Satyasai School, Trishur. On behalf of Central Sahodaya School Conclave Kottayam and Council of CBE Schools of Kerala and our technical partner, its program is powered by Insight E. On behalf of each and everyone, let me welcome today's resource person for the webinar series. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. On behalf of Central Sahodaya School Conclave, our proud and privileged, our Neelakandan sir, Sri N. Neelakandan, manager Sri Shankara Vidyalaya Vaikam, and our technical partner Insight E, the head Insight, Mr. Shuhaib, and all the persons behind with us also here with us in this webinar. Let me welcome both of you to the session.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And the participants, you are the real stars, you are the heroes. I think competency-based education or competency-based teaching, as you know that CBSE is insisting this methodology as the part of NEP 2020. We can So for the betterment of the students, stakeholders, CBSE schools, this session will help you. All the best. My dear participants, you may please effectively use the chat box. You can free feel to communicate with the resource person through the chat box. If anything from the resource person side also, you may kindly revert through the chat box. I wish all the best for the dear participants also, and the resource person also. Wish you all the best once again, ma'am. And now the floor is open for you. You can go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So before I start the session, I want you all to sit with a pen and paper, because we are going to write certain things and you have to unmute and you have to read also what you have written when it comes to the outcome area. So you should have a book, a paper and a pen with you. Okay. Now let us start. Let me share the screen. Before that, please put in the chat box what is your expectations on today's session. What's your expectations? Post it in the chat box, please. What do you expect from today's session? In between, let me. Yeah, please, the chat box should be really active. And now in the chat box, or somebody can unmute, one person can unmute and tell, let's think, how has our world changed? You have to talk in these areas, how the communication has changed, how the career has changed, how the method of purchase have changed, and how the education has changed. Active, please, the chat box. Or if anybody would like to talk, that also you can. How to improve my knowledge through the session, that is the expectation. Apart from that, you tell me how the world has changed. Make more technology has been technologically, yeah, good. More inputs I need. Fast moving world. How can we integrate art with integrated projects in primary classes? That is the concern. Complete development of children. Tell me how the world has changed. Career-wise, method of purchase. Can you sit at your home and do the purchase now? What are the sites you all are using? Flipkart, then what is it? Amazon, Nike. All-round development of children. Yeah, what are the changes in education area? More digitalized. Great, more digitalized. People choose everything online now after pandemic. Good. Make children more active centered. Great. Anyway, if you ask me how I can explain each letter of the word education, I will say that now we are living in the world where E stands for emotional intelligence, where D stands for divergent thinking. U is understanding each and every person is unique. Okay, and C is the critical thinking and the communication skill of the child. A is the awareness of self, and T is the teamwork they have to do. I is integrity, enhancing the integrity and integration of the subjects. And O is understanding the spirit of oneness. N is nice temperament. So we are in a world where lots of changes have happened in these areas regarding the communication, how we communicate with the people. The jobs, what we look into has changed, isn't it? Work from home is, we can see people now have started working from home. Method of purchase has changed. The education, the definition of education itself has changed. Now tell me, what were the main components of 20th century? when we were studying, when we were the learners, what we used to do is that teaching or learning, then assessment. More focus was done, or more we were focusing more on the core subjects. That means the teaching learning area will be there and assessment area. Apart from that, skills were not taken into consideration. Now, what are the 6 elements of the 21st century learning skills? Can you say what do we mean by the 21st century skills? Or I can give you some clues. What is this 4C we are talking about in 21st century skill? We say that 4 C's should be enhanced. What are these 4 C's? Please, in the chat box, 4 C's. Please put it in the chat box. What you understand from 4C? I'm checking out the creativity. That's great. Communication, comprehension, communication, creativity, and collaboration. Critical thinking. Very good. Very good. Wonderful. So 4C means it is competency, creativity, collaboration, communication, critical thinking. So what is this competency? We are into the topic competency-based education. What is this competency actually? Competency means the ability to analyze, to evaluate, to observe. Creativity means the ability to imagine, whereas communication means the ability to convey, whereas collaboration means the ability to work in coordination, whatever. See, for a common goal, for a common purpose, though there are certain elements which we do not like, then also we are ready to work in a team. That is exactly collaboration. Okay, then, so let us see what is the first element of 21st century skill. Emphasis should be given on the core subjects, and the student understanding in the core subject should go beyond the minimal mastery. That is key element number 1 of 21st century skill. See, competency-based education means you should understand what are the skills needed for 21st century. Now, key element number 2, that whatever the modeling, the examples, what you give should be realistic, it should be practical, and it should have some connection with personal connection. The child should feel certain personal connection with the projects or the examples, what you model into or what you give in your classroom. Creating opportunities for the students to interact with each other in authentic learning situations. Key element number 3, having knowledge. ICT literacy is needed. See, we talk about foundational literacy and we talk about what I can say is that numeracy, isn't it? Exactly what is this foundational literacy? It is the area of literacy, numeracy. Literacy means scientific literacy, ICT literacy, financial literacy, cultural and civic literacy. Okay, so we are into the word. I would like to tell an example when I say that ICT literacy is very much needed, or we have to enhance that skill. See, the UKG teacher was coming and telling me that after COVID, when the classes started, when we are telling silence, the children are not keeping quiet. What would be the reason? What would be the reason? The vocabulary has changed. We are dealing with the children during this COVID time, 2 years. The vocabulary of the children itself has changed. So what would have been the reason the children were keeping quiet when the teacher is telling silence? Because they are not familiar with the term silence. Rather, if you say, I told her that you just say, keep muted or mute, the child will understand. So we are, I was just joking, but still, this is going to be the situation. The vocabulary, the dimension of the children who are sitting in front of you, the biggest resource of the country, they are changed a lot. So we have to be competent to I should say that to teach them. That's very important. See, people are afraid of competition. Who is afraid of competition? People who are incompetent are afraid of competition. Actually, competition is good if you take it in a healthy spirit. There should be some sort of competition spirit in each and every one, or for a good cause, for a good goal, I should say. But those who are incompetent always feel that, always have the stress of competition. So as a facilitator, you have to see that you are enhancing or stretching out the skill of the children in all these areas. Okay. ICT knowledge doesn't mean that we are using Zoom or we are using Google Meet or something like that and we are taking the classes. It's beyond that. Or otherwise, we should say that we are going into a world. The children will be in a world within 5 or 10 years beyond, BYOT. So what is it? Instead of asking the children to bring the notebooks or bring the textbook, we are going into a world where you have to say, bring your own device. So we cannot, at any terms, we cannot say that digital literacy, or we cannot say that the children can never use gadgets or it is not good for them. We will be acting as a sarcastic figure, or people will be feeling that we are outdated when we start talking like that. The children, students will be using that. The only thing is that we should make them understand how to use it qualitatively. And key element number 4, communication skill. See, now it is being told that in 2025, the World Economic Forum, they have given a research paper is there itself, that the people in the various employment area, they have to reskill their what I should say, that their skills, reskill the skill or upskill the skills. Then only they will be able to continue their profession in the whatever areas they are. It has already happened, isn't it? Last 2 years, when we were in the COVID time, we all know that we weren't taking the classes through the blackboard or in a confined, what I should say, that in a real classroom scenario had completely changed. We were using Google Meet, we were using Google Form, we were using Padlet, we were using what all things we could study in that limited period of time. And we were trying to implement that, and we were trying to cope up with the situation. Element number 4, the communication skill is going to be the most important skill for a child when it comes to any sort of job areas and all. So without English, without their linguistic competency, there is a chance for the child that he may struggle in certain areas. So we should have some conscious effort. Some conscious effort should be there to enhance these skills. Now, key element number 5, life skills. Without life skills, I will say that education is not at all complete. See, I can challenge you all. You just go into the classroom and you just see how many of your children will be able to plan a timetable. Because the gifted children itself, they may struggle. Why? Because the children are having problems in the area of how to manage the priorities, priority management, how to manage the stress, how to manage the time, how to frame their goals. Okay, all this, even the intelligent child of your class may struggle in these areas. So you should see that when we are teaching, you should give more importance to life skills, because we know that, see, when we go into the daily news, what all things are happening. I was really shocked. A girl who was studying in Mangalore for some professional course, she had committed suicide, telling that her her lover told her to go and commit suicide, and she did that. So what is happening to these students? I used to say, what is happening to our children? The importance of value-based education, the importance of the life skills come here. So how can we enhance the life skills of the students? Simply by preaching, it is not going to happen. You should give situational studies to the children, because resilience is very, very, very important. What do we mean by resilience? What is resilience actually? When they have certain setbacks, when they have any sort of traumatic situation, when they have to face certain adversities, they should learn to bounce back. That is resilience. See, I remember about an art form which is there in Japan. It's called kintsugi. Somebody's microphone is on, I think. Please keep muted. See the language I'm using. Yeah, I was just thinking the silence, we used to say keep silent, and now it's completely, we are changing the vocabulary unknowingly. Okay. So I would like to say, I was talking about kintsugi. Kintsugi is an art form which is there in Japan 400 years ago itself. If suppose a pot is broken, they use gold as adhesive to mend that. So what is the impact when we use gold to bring together, to mend the broken pieces together? Can you put in the chat box? What is the benefit of that? What does it literally describe? I felt really happy when I was reading that particular topic. Why? Because what is it? Embracing something with its flaws and with its imperfections. And when we care it, when it is honored, when it is respected, when some sort of, what I can say is that some help is given to them, they will, their value, they will come out with different colors, their value enhances. So when this particular pot, the broken pieces of pot, when gold was put into it for when as an adhesive or for the mending it, the value of that pot enhanced. So that should happen. When we see a child, when we understand that a child is having some sort of problem, we as a facilitator should see that we should give, the strategy should be developed in such a way that he should have the skill to come back and to lead his life. So that is very, very, very important, my dear teachers. Resilience or enhancing the life skills. How to manage the stress, how to have self-awareness, social responsibility. And in the research study conducted by the Developmental Dimension, International Development Dimensions in 2008, and again in 2018, what they came to the conclusion that accountability and adaptability and agility is the most important skill needed for a leader. So we are dealing with people, or we are dealing with the students who are going to be the leaders. So these adaptability skill, the agility, these should be inculcated in them. Simply if we say that you should be flexible, you should be adaptable, it's not going to be to happen. So what can we do for that? You should be competent enough. As a facilitator, you should be competent enough to give your children situational analysis, situational study, problem solving areas where they could creatively work on that, because we cannot tell them, we cannot make them go through every experiences. All these things, we cannot say that we can, experiential learning can be done and let them learn from the experiences. No, in certain situations, we have to hypothetically also frame life situations and make the child understand how he is going to respond when such thing is happening in my life. How will I react to such situations? And then help the child in that area. Ethical behavior is very important. Why? Because value system, we talk a lot about value-based education, ethical-based education. I and you know that value is value. When we speak about value, it is not a constant entity, right? My value system and your value system may be different. It's a variable entity, but we should make the child always focus, understand what are the universal value system is. and then act accordingly. What is the need of value, or what is the need of ethical behavior? How this is going to help a child in future? Please, can anyone put in the chat box? Because I have seen some people coming and telling that we are not interested to do we are having some Vedam classes and all. So some parents and will come and tell that, no, we are not interested in this. We are not interested in moral science. We are not interested. But what is the need of developing or integrating value education in the usual teaching learning area? In my school, I used to ask the teachers to write in their lesson plan what value they are teaching when they are teaching this particular lesson. Every lesson, if you analyze, it will have some value to be given to the children. So what is the use? When you are a person with true values and when you have a true ethical behavior, it is going to help you when you take decision. Okay, so you will be able, or the child who is having a proper ethical behavior will be able to take the right decision at the right time in the right sequence. Key element number 6, that is the assessment area. See, we were talking too much about the technological development. We ourselves feel that we have attained a lot after COVID. But let me ask you one thing. We were using all the relevant technological methods what we were having in our, or what we could be trained within 2 years, and we were using that when we were during the COVID years, I should say that 2 years. But why then the teaching, why we were not able to analyze the learning gap of the children? If there were some sort of assessment tool with us, we could have understood that, isn't it? So that's why there is a study, or there is a paper. If you can go through that in the Google if you are interested. University of Minnesota, they have given a paper regarding what is the version of the educational system prevailing. They say that we were in education 1.0 and our journey should be to education 4.0. Where education 1.0 was era, the 20th century era, where the education was completely teacher oriented, authoritarian method of teaching, lecturing, memorizing. Whereas education 2.0, I could say that it's the COVID time where the technology was integrated, social networking was there, collaboration was there. And education 3.0 version, it is where the children will be doing the projects more into the research-based method, student-centered approach, whereas 4.0 is something which we all dream into. Or otherwise, within 5 to 10 years, you will be seeing children of that type who will be bringing the devices, who will be walking into the campus with the tabs and with their own laptops, who will be having, instead of the lesson plans what you are having, you will be having creativity plans. Education 3.0 says that instead of lesson plan, you should learn to call it as learning plans. Whereas 4.0 version is that of creativity plans, where the child, where the student and the teacher have to collaboratively work and create a plan for their teaching learning. Okay, the teacher is going to be a part of the learning area. I remember a quote of John Dewey. I used to tell that to my teachers because he is a person who had coined experiential learning. In a statement, he had given that the teacher should be the part of the learning to a stipulated time. And after that should depart from the learning, giving the complete authenticity and complete responsibility for the student in regarding the quantity and quality of his learning. So the assessment tools what you are using should be, I should say, should be credible, should be valid, should be flexible. It should be age appropriate, and sometimes you should see that lots of assessment methods you are using. We know that we will be using peer assessment, you will be using self-assessment, we will be using what I can say is that formative assessment, summative assessment, MCQs. What all things you are using as teachers, you can share with me in the chat box, please. MCQs. See, MCQ, during the term one examination, even we were training the children with lots of MCQs, isn't it? My class 10 teachers, I remember them giving 2-3 model examinations of the MCQs itself. But actually, CBSE had made us this MCQ assessment and all. It is for us to understand how the children have learned. Okay, because we need not give lots of preparatory, what I should say, revision type or preparatory assessments are not needed actually for MCQs. That is a different area. We'll come to it if we have time. Now, in the chat box, let us see what you just give me a keyword. Give me a keyword, or otherwise unmute your mic and see a keyword. How will you explain teacher's role in today's century, 21st century practice? How you are going to explain teacher's role? Teacher's role, please. I'll check the chat box once. Role model, facilitator, Bindu ma'am, it's good. Roshan Chirian, it's good. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Remya ma'am, it's facilitator. Yeah, good. It's facilitator, it's friend, it's mentor. Great. Now the next one, the next thing. Now the teacher's role is over. I got enough inputs. Now the student role. What is the student's role? Student's role. Scaffolder, mentor. Great. Now give me, what is a student's role? Quiz time is actually the time for me to sip some water. Learner. No, now the next question, question number 2, the student's role. Seeker, center. Center means I didn't understand the term. Sir, please, if you could explain that. Creator, coach. Now, what is the role of the student? Performer, self-evaluators. Great. Learner, problem solver, creator, receiver. Good, good, good. So I'm having a wonderful team of people, and always remember that at the end of the session, I'm going to say who was the most active participant. Okay. Now, student result. If I give one word, you can describe about the student results. Student results. Student results. How will you explain in one word? Creativity. Student results. Assessment, capability. Yeah, good. Achievement, efficient. Evaluation of their performance. Upgrade. Great. Wonderful. The all-round achievements. Good. Very good. Very good. So teacher's role, we got lots of keywords here. I need not explain. See the potential of the team I'm having in front of me. See, you told it as a mentor, you told they are scaffolders, you told they are co-learners, you told they are facilitators. And students' role, you were telling that they are the co-learners. It's learner-centered. And student results should be holistic development, adaptive, achievement, all-round developer, great performance, good. Instructional focus on what? Instructional focus on what? Key number 1, instructional focus on what? Life lesson, values, great. Life skills, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, please. Apart from that, holistic development, I need one more keyword for instructional focus on the concept. Very much important. Problem solving, lesson, yeah, life skills, good. I would say that the instructional focus should be on the core area, focus area, core area, because NEP says give focus to the core areas of a content. Okay, core subjects, very good. Now the next one, lesson design. I told we from the lesson plan which we used to write in that blue book, which the school used to give us. From that, we should move to the 4.0 version of education, where we will be walking into the classroom with the creativity plans. Okay. See, it is told that in 4.0, when education reaches 4.0, the children will be doing that, the students will be learning from home or outside the school, and they will walk into the school only for upskilling their skills. Okay, so school is going to be an area where you will be focusing on the skill development, whereas learning, now itself we are doing flipped classroom. I think there will be schools who are doing flipped classroom. Is there any school who is doing flipped classroom? Learning should be done at home. We are giving the content, what all things they have to learn, will be giving at home. They will be doing it outside the school. And from here, we will be going with the assessments and all inside the classroom. Flipped method, first-hand experiences. See, is great. Focus on all. Very good. Very good. So now the instructional strategies. Lesson design should be based on the learner at the center. So how will you define lesson design in your own terms? Please. We don't have much time. I have lot to take. Ability-based, child-centered. So when you write a lesson plan, when you design a lesson plan, it should be based on, you should have one person in your mind, that is the student. The student should be there, the child-centered lesson plan. Keep the student at the heart and start designing your lesson plan. Instructional strategies. What are the instructional strategies we are having? Experiential learning. Apart from that, I'm giving clues for you all. Instructional strategy, experiential learning. Then what are the pedagogical strategies you are having in your classroom, or what you use? Playway method, role play, then multiple intelligence, storytelling, art integration, activity oriented. Great, very good. Jam, good. Dramatization, wonderful. Coaching method. Now the next one, situational based, project based. Now the next one, instructional and technological tools. What are the technological tools you are using for instruction as well as for assessment? Google Form, Padlet, Mentimeter. Apart from that, experimentation, smartboard, yeah, good. Interactive panels, Kahoot, yeah, good. Now the assessment practices. What all assessment practices you are having? Peer assessment, self-assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment, MCQs, homework app, elocution, observation. Great, great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Test papers. Thank you for that. Okay. Thank you so much. Now let me move to the next one. The next question is in the chat box itself. What conditions do you have with you? Somebody's mic, I think, is on. What conditions are there in your control? Somebody, please, please mute your microphone. What conditions do you have in your control that can be altered to improve the student achievement? What do you have under your control? Chat box. What do you have in your control? We cannot blame everybody, isn't it? So I got one answer for that. And that is class management, lesson plan, implementation, patience, teaching methodology. Then great, wonderful. So class control. So these things are in your control. Let us see what are there in our control. You have these 4 areas under your complete control. One is the curriculum, what we teach. How we are going to teach, the quality of your instruction, how we are going to teach, where we teach, the area where you teach, the school where you teach, whether it is having the proper, whether the TQMS is there, that means the total quality management subsystem is there. Okay, whether you are having those supporting systems there. See, we usually the entire school system itself, we have to divide it into two areas. It works in two tiers. One is the academic tier, the academic area. The second one is the behavioral area. That means what we were discussing, the life skills, the behavior, the attitude, the character qualities of the children. So when you have these two tiers in your school system, means that's your school system, isn't it? These two tiers should be managed effectively, and that area will be going to the administrator, the principal, whoever is there in your campus. So the school should act as a supporting system, multi-tier supporting system. The first tier is the academic area, whereas the second tier should be the behavioral area. So the way we teach is very important. Characteristics of students who we teach. So what are the four areas? What we teach, how you are going to teach, where you are teaching, and who you are teaching. Let me say, remember that I would like you all to note this, the quote of John Tivy. John Tivy is a person who has given lots and lots of insights on these different areas of teaching learning. If you get time, you should see the pedagogical creed, or otherwise the child and the curriculum. See, see this quote: if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday, we rob them of tomorrow. Now comes the core area. What do we mean by competency-based education? So before going or before orienting on that areas, I would like to know, what do you know about competency-based education? Can you define that, or can you say one keyword about it? Competency-based education. Please. Chat box, like the environment, the class. What do we mean by competency? Ability. Great. Competency is the ability to do something efficiently, to be successful in today's world, finding out the talents in students. Ashwini ma'am and excellence, problem solving. Nalini ma'am, it's Susmita, it's problem solving. Great. So what is competency? I would like to, one key word I'm searching here is that of outcome. Outcome. What is outcome actually? Outcome is something which we should get at the end of the session, isn't it? But even when I'm defining what is competency or what is competence-based education, I am using the term outcome. So what is this outcome? Why did I mention that at the outset of the competency-based education itself? I'm just going into the core area of competency-based education, isn't it? And I'm using the term outcome, which means the end of the session. We used to say at the end that student will be able to, but that should be in your mind first. Let us outcomes of the learning process, really, like what the children got. Great. So what your children got, what your children, how much competent your children were, or how much competency your child got after this particular time, or after this particular session, after 2 hours, or after 1 week, after teaching this particular area. So competency, I will give you a very simple definition. See this? I request you all to go through this. This was coined by William G. Spady, who is called the father of outcome-based education. He has defined outcome-based education, such a simple statement, right? But as I know, I am having a wonderful team of people in front of me who can decode it. I request you all to decode this complex definition given by William G. Spady. Data-based, adaptive, performance-oriented, set of integrated processes that facilitate, measure, record, and certify within the content of flexible time parameters the demonstration of non-explicitly stated and agreed upon learning outcomes that reflect successful functioning in life roles. I remember what Nadimudi Venu was telling in Pranavam's film, I think. നിർത്തി നിർത്തി പറയൂ എന്നാലല്ലേ മനസ്സിലാവുള്ളൂ അല്ലെ നിർത്തി നിർത്തി പാടൂ എന്നാലല്ലേ മനസ്സിലാവുള്ളൂ സോ ഒന്ന് നിർത്തി നിർത്തി നമ്മൾക്ക് ഇതിന്റെ ഡാറ്റ if you try to decode this, what are the key words which is coming to your mind? See the first word, database. What is that? Nothing but evidence. You should not judge a child without proper evidence. Database, evidence-based, adaptive, flexible environment, and it should be based on the student performance. How? Giving flexible parameters, time parameters, and whatever you teach should be helpful for them in their life roles. Let me see the chat box, how you decoded. Make a student multi-talented, learning that helps a child integrate into society successfully based on their individual ability. Great. Multifaceted teaching evaluation. So what are the keywords which came to your mind right now? It should be evidence-based. It should be flexible. Time parameters should be flexible. Assessment should be flexible. And it should be performance-oriented. At the end of the day, my dear teachers, learning matters. Whatever we do, whatever things we are implementing, whatever strategies you are implementing, the result, the outcome is the most important. Whether the child is able to. If the child is not able to, there is a failure. Though sometimes you might be stating your own reason, but this is not told by me, but it was told by CBSE. 60% of the student learning, the performance of the student, the result, the performance of the student is based on the capacity of the teacher, the ability of the teacher. 60 to 65, 25% is that of the principals like me. And the rest only goes to the stakeholders, other stakeholders, the student, comprising the student, the parents, and the other stakeholders. See, 60 to 65% is your capacity, your competency, which is making the child competent. So if the child is not competent, we have to admit that we are not competent enough to make the child competent. Now let us go into details of CBP and the traditional way. Only this letters which I have given in red color, you should have that in. This is the core. CBP means based on the learning outcomes, whereas in the traditional method where we used to learn, what is it? It was based on mainly on the educational materials which were there, and there was no much clarity on the exact competencies of the children. So what are these competencies what we need? That is also very important. No, I'm talking about competency. You have any doubt? Somebody is talking? Is it a question to me? See, let us see what is the difference between the traditional and the competency. Just have a quick look, because already you have told all these things. Traditional learning is, moreover, it's an authoritarian method, it's a lecture method, it is a memorization method, it's a rote learning method, or otherwise we can say that it was separate disciplines were there. See, when you have noticed the education definition what I gave, it's completely framed by me. It's nobody, it's not told by CBSE, it's not, I didn't take from anywhere. The education, the letters of education, when I decoded, I felt that I should be that of integration of the subjects. CBSE clearly says that up to class 8, multidisciplinary approach is needed. A vertical line should be there with all the subjects. See, you have a subject teachers, English is there, you are having LP section, UP section, or other senior secondary section. The head of the department of English will be there, who doesn't know what is being taught in class 1 and 2. The maths teacher, who is called the HOD of maths. Maybe she doesn't know what is being taught in this class 3 and 4. She's more focusing on the secondary, or otherwise I should say that the senior secondary and the class 9th and 10th. So what is the use of that? The entire departments should know. There should be a vertical alignment between the departments. Nothing should stand in difference. So when NEP is implemented, I feel that lots of changes are going to happen in all these things, where we have separate groups of all these subjects and all. It's going to go, because English cannot stand alone, maths cannot stand alone. So we are actually training the children. Competency means 21st century skill means, see, let me ask you one thing. When you were sleeping, have you ever had the experience that your mother had poured some water on your face? Or otherwise, even you as a parent are putting some water on your child's face to get up when they see that the child is simply wasting the time sleeping? I had the experience. My mama had done that. And I would jump from my bed and I would run and I will do whatever works. But because my mind will be blank at that time, I was not competent enough to understand that Newton's second law was applied there. An object, when it is at rest, it needs an external force to change that particular, the resting position. An external force was applied. My poor mother, Amma, was applying an external force. Now the change should be coming from these areas. The child should understand from each and every real life situations that there is something which he could learn from that. My dear teachers, that is true experiential learning. When he understands, when he was resting, when an external force applied, Newton's second law, something he's learning. When I'm drinking this cup of water, is this experiential learning? We are giving lots of activities to the children. I could see that for Deepavali itself, we may be asking the children to make, different activity was given in the classroom. Maybe their parents might have done most of the work. But if you are not making the child reflect on what is being taught or what is being given, what is the use of all these things? When I drink this glass of water, it's an experience. I'm having water, isn't it? I have an experience right now. If I think something on that, I'm thinking something when I'm thinking of this water, the combination of this, then it becomes experiential learning. And if I'm doing something with that, active experimentation is taking place. We'll come to that. So what I would like to underline is that competencies means understanding, reflective thinking. Whatever we do, some sort of reflection will be there. Thinking is happening there. Critical thinking will be there. Collaboration will be there. Communication skills should be enhanced. Personal awareness, what I am, what is my strength, what is my weakness, the responsibility, what are my rights and what are my responsibilities, what is my responsibility as a citizen. Social responsibility is very important. When you if there is any social studies teachers here, or it's not the duty only of the social studies teacher, that civic responsibility, social responsibility should be taught to the children. They should be able to understand the culture of the country. So what are the 4 areas? What is communication? The ability to convey, ability to give information, ability to decode what others are telling. Okay, and collaboration, I told, it's team building. When you understand that, when you defining and discussing a problem in a group is much more beneficial, or it is going to help you in a better perception to solve a problem, that is real team building, or that is real collaboration. Okay, We should learn to understand the system. System thinking is important rather than going into the isolated bit, into the individual perception. If we understand that when we work as a team, it is going to give better results. Very important in our life. Critical thinking, reflect personal awareness and cultural identity. I already told, and if you have any doubts regarding any area, you can put in the chat box. Later on, we will be discussing. And what are the key features of CBE right now? We are going to key features, key elements of 21st century skills. I think you all understood. What are the key features of CBE approach? One is equity. Please put it in the chat box. What is the difference between equality and equity? Equality and equity. What is the difference between equal? See, equality, we should see that all children are treated equal. Fairness, equal. Thank you, Soumya ma'am, for that. Would I like to chance to all versus fair chance to all? Great. See, please, whatever your understanding is, you can put. There is no problem if you are making any mistake. Okay, I am not at all a perfect person. I am learning a lot from you all actually. Provide what each need is equity. That's wonderful, Binsi ma'am. Providing what each need is equity. Such a simple definition of equity. Let me give you an example. Suppose a game or basketball is happening in your school playground. You are having building surrounded building. You are having the playground is in the middle of four sides. You are having building. You are allowing the children to watch the play from the corridor. And when you equality was there, you are asking all the children can go and watch the basketball. And you found that you observed one child is struggling because he's having some sort, he's crippled. He's having some sort of handicap, or otherwise he is little bit small or a dwarf, something like that. Some sort of challenges is facing. You are making him on a table or otherwise on a desk, or you are putting a chair for him, or you are moving a stool for him and making him see that particular program is called equity. Because there we cannot say that it is equality, because whatever is needed to bring out equality, we are doing that. Differentiated approach. So what is differentiated approach? Flexibility in the input what you are giving. That means the instructional strategy is what you are using. Flexibility in the teaching. Okay. Flexibility in the outcome. What you expect from your student. And flexibility in the time, flexibility in the pace of learning, and flexibility in the assessment is differentiated support. So differentiated support, I can tell you all, you should have in your mind. Universal design of learning you might be heard about. You should have two keywords in your mind. That is accommodations and assimilations and adapt. Not 2 words, 3 keywords. Accommodations, assimilations and adaptations. The child will be, each child who is sitting in front of you will be coming accommodated with certain experiences, right? They will be having from prior experiences, and you are working on the accommodation. You are trying to assimilate new ideas into the accommodation. And for that, you should use various adaptations. Adaptations, you might be having certain doubts. See, how can you use different adaptations? General adaptations are needed and specific adaptations are needed as a teacher. If you are a maths teacher, if you have, I should say that a practice of writing the formula every time on the blackboard, or asking the children to write every time the formula before you are doing the problem. Although you know that most of the children are acquainted with that, maybe it's not in the first class and all, you are continuing that as a practice. There are teachers who ask for the multiplication table every day. My maths teacher was like that in class 3 and 4. I was so happy. Every day, the multiplication table. She will walk into the classroom and she will ask for multiplication table. And when a new teacher came there for taking the class, she was telling that children are, every child of the class, they know thoroughly what is multiplication, the multiplication tables. There are certain areas where the children struggle. So the adaptation of a teacher, the adaptation which that teacher consciously took, there helped all the children, because a gifted child, maybe their repeated practice is not needed. But for a child who is having some problem with the memory, I should say that to memorize something, for them it is helpful. So generally, without any cause of embarrassment, because otherwise, if we are concentrating, focusing only for the children who are having memory problem, they may sometimes feel embarrassed, right? So unknowingly integrating, without unknowingly means the children should not know that the teacher is doing a general adaptation for some weaker children there. We are doing it as a general practice. So what happens if the teacher daily gives the formula or daily recollects the formula? This goes to help the child who is struggling, as well as the child who is proficient, will be more authentic on that particular thing, isn't it? Adaptations. So otherwise also what I can say, if we, sometimes if there is a child who is suffering from any sort of sensory issue, if there is a child who cannot, what I can say, who cannot hear, child is deaf in your classroom. So what will be the differentiated support system you are going to give to that child? Will you go there and will you lecture? What will be your strategy? You can ask the school that they should have somebody who knows the sign language. That definitely there will be there. But I am asking, as a teacher, you should have some ethics to see all the children. Equity should be provided for all the children, right? So what will be your adaptation, I am asking? What can be the method? Please put in the chat box, please. Actions and smart board, great, wonderful. You can use visuals. You can use the visuals with captions so that the child is having problem with ear. There is no problem with the eye. So if the child is given visuals with captions, definitely the child will be part of, there is no segregation, or otherwise the child will not feel that alienated in a situation, in a classroom scenario, rather than we can bring an inclusive culture in your classroom. All are unique demonstrations, videos and models, great, wonderful. So I know that you all will be doing, but just to make you all aware of what you are doing. Okay, attract the learners to learning. Great, great. Thank you so much for that. And now comes the progress based on evidence of mastery of the skills in the classroom, rather than time in the classroom. See, your concentration, your focus should be there on uncovering the skills of the child, rather than covering the syllabus. Covering the syllabus is important, I know, because even before being a principal, I was a teacher for 17 years. I know the pressure what each and every teacher have for the completing the portions. But let me tell you one thing, my dear teachers, because there used to be an argument why CBSE is not changing in the assessment method. We would like to implement all this flexibility, but let me ask you one thing. Up to class 8, please mute your microphone, please. See, this is a team of class 1 to 8. Is CBSE asking you all to do a uniform assessment method? You have complete freedom on what you want to do. You can do continuous, and CCE can be implemented if you want. Continuous evaluation can be done. What all assessment methods you can do. Multidisciplinary can be implemented. You all don't have much stress or pressure regarding the the universal system of assessment which is being formulated by the board. Somebody's mic is on. I request the admin if you can please mute. I cannot see whose microphone is on, or otherwise, if any team member, if you can ask them to keep it muted, that's also fine. Who is that? Please. whose microphone is that?
Ma'am, it is girly,
Can anybody?
girly Paul.
Whose is that?
Girly Paul. Girly Paul.
Curly Paul, please mute. Curly Paul, madam, please mute your microphone. Now we are coming into the core area of competency-based education. Competency is nothing but you have to enhance the skills in these three areas. That is how you are going to design the curriculum, how we are going to for the teaching and learning area and the assessment area. So CBE is nothing but a cat. It's a mnemonics. So when you decode CAT, what is it? Curriculum design, it's assessment, and it's a teaching and learning area. You can go and tell to your principal, what was the takeaway? We learned CBE and we learned that CBE is nothing but a CAT. Okay. So you have to focus on the curriculum area, how you design the lesson plan, how you design the instructional strategy, and then how you are going to the instructional focus, the methods you are going to use in your classroom, and how your activities, what you are using in your classroom, and the assessment area. Now, how should be the curriculum design? I'm going to discuss only the main things in this because we have to do some practical works in the sessions itself. So curricular design should be based on real world context, most important thing. And it should be multidisciplinary. Try to integrate, to have a multidisciplinary approach and see that you are integrating higher order thinking skills when you are designing the curriculum. I will give you examples. Let me, this 2-3 slides, I will go in a fast pace. Okay. Teaching and learning, it should be student-centered, you all know. Okay, student-centered method of teaching, formative, peer assessment, self-assessment, and lesson plan should be based on learning outcome. Learning outcome is the most important area where we are going to work out. Okay, and assessment should be valid based on the learning outcome. It should be based on your learning outcome, and you should see that it is having a synoptic method or synoptic type. Synoptic assessment. What do you mean by synoptic assessment? Linked connections. It should have some sort of link connections between the examples what you give, the assessment what you do, the content what you teach, and it should help the child to associate or connect with a real lifetime situation also. This is the most important thing. Now, this is, can you see, can anyone tell what is this? I know everybody might have seen this. What is this? What is this? This picture, what does this graphics illustrate? This is Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy, which was coined by Benjamin Bloom in 1956, with some of his collaborators also was there, were the learning objectives or the learning goals was divided into 6 categories. Okay, the first level, it has 6 levels of learning should happen. What Bloom says that 6 levels of learning, and when you note it, you can understand that he has used verbs. This is a revised form. Earlier it was noun, and then he changed it into verb. Why? Because we believe in action. Okay, so action oriented, action plan. This is an action plan. See, the first level is a remembering level. That is a knowledge level. The second level is the understanding level. Third, applying. Fourth, analyzing. Fifth, evaluating. And the sixth one, the highest level, is the synthesis level or the creating level. So can you give some sort of observations from this? So from the picture, what you understood? From something of your observation, I would like to know, from this picture, what is your observation? Please. The circle is becoming bigger, 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 bigger. That's a clue for you all. Cognitive development. See, that's a clue for you all. The circle, the base level, the knowledge, the smallest one. Then from there, it is going to big, 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 bigger, bigger, bigger circles. Lower order to higher order thinking. Very good. Thank you so much for that, Binsi ma'am. That means the first level, that is the knowledge level. Everything, all the other levels should be is based on this knowledge level. Okay, from knowledge level, we are building the understanding level. From the understanding level, we are building the applying level. From the applying level, we are building, analyzing, then evaluating, then at last, the child is creating something of their own. So for that, Benjamin Bloom, as this is very important because you all are going to write learning outcome on this. But when you are writing, based on this, you are going to write the learning outcome. But he has described, he has told that certain verbs only should be used. Certain terms should only be used to define each levels or each categories. We should not use abstract terms when you define the learning objective or the learning category. I cannot use, the child will be able to understand. How we are going to measure understand? So when you do something, when you write the learning outcome, it should be measurable. When you teach something, the learning, it should be measurable and observable. So the verbs what you select should be based on whether you can measure it correctly. So for the first one, the knowledge level you can use define, duplicate, list, memorize, recall, repeat, state, understand. You can take a screenshot of this or because you are going to write after 2 slides, you are going to write a learning outcome. Understanding, you can use, see the verbs which is be used, classify, describe, then discuss, select, translate. Again, apply, choose, demonstrate, schedule, sketch, etc. Analyzing, it is appraise, compare, examine, experiment, etc. Evaluating, appraise, support, value, etc. Create, it is write, construct, formulate, okay, assemble. So now let us understand how, with an example, what is this Bloom's taxonomy? If you ask me to decode, I will give you a small example of mathematics. Knowledge, the remembering level, if the maths teacher, she's going to the class, if it is a 3rd standard or 4th standard, she's going to the class and she's telling 5 into 3 is equal to 15. She taught the table of 5 and 5 into 3 is equal to 15. How focused on that? Taught, the child got the knowledge. Coming the next day, she's asking the child to recall that, to remember that and telling, what is 5 into 3? The child says that it is 15, madam. Over. And when the teacher, then the teacher is going to take the next topic, 6, multiplication table of 6. There comes the problem. Because there, as a teacher, you are focusing only on the base level, only on the remembering area. This is happening. If the child wants to understand what is 5 into 3, he should have the basic understanding that 5 groups of 3 and 3 groups of 5 is also 15. If the child wants to apply the understanding of 5 groups of 3 and 3 groups of 5, we should say that when Sita went to the market, she bought 3 chocolates, 5 rupees each. How much rupees Sita has to give? 15. Applying level. Analyze whether 18 or 15, which is bigger. Evaluate. Understand the value of that. What is 15? What much, how many 10, how many 5 comprises 15? How they can use that, the number 15 in their day-to-day life. Okay, or what all combinations they can do to bring 15, to make 7 plus 7 plus 1 is also 15. 14 plus 1 is also 15. Subtracting something from that, 18 minus 3 is also 15. So understanding this and bringing, See, my dear teachers, let me ask you very frankly, do we take the children to all these areas? And at last, making the child formulate a word problem of his own. Give model right there and ask the children to create a problem or to create a combination of the numbers. The missing letter numbers you can give. Let the child also create such thing. A simple example of 5 into 3 is equal to 15. I took it to all these 6 areas. Similarly, if I ask you all the simple rhyme, Baba Black Sheep may be any wool. We all know that, Baba Black. Can you take that into all these 6 areas? Making the child understand that, see, in LKG, maybe the recalling only is needed. But when it goes to UKG area, you have to see that the child should understand the difference between the sheep and the goat. The child should, when it comes to higher classes, the child should understand why wool industry is not there in here. Why the sheep are there in some certain geographical locations only. What is the climatic situation a sheep needs to live in? So these all are used, I would say, one word. Beyond the textbook. When you are ready to go beyond the textbook only, when you are competent enough to go beyond the text, then only we can say that we will be eligible as a facilitator to make the child competent. Now see, this also, if you want, you can take a screenshot. These are the purple ring is the 6 categories of or the domains, I can say. The learning objectives what Bloom's have divided, and the yellow or the orange ring are the suggested verbs which you can use for each and every domain, whereas the last circle, the green ring, is the activity what you can do. So your entire teaching area methodology or the pedagogical strategies, whatever you are using, the instructional designing should be in such a way that you are implementing LAR in your classroom. LAR means you should know what is the learning outcome. Okay, what is the learning outcome? You should know what is the activity you are going to give to the child. You should know what is the assessment area, what you are going to do for that particular topic. And you should make the child reflect. And as a teacher, you also should reflect what went right, what went wrong. Why what did I learn? What are the learning gaps I'm having? The child should reflect. How can I practically implement this in different area? Make variations in certain areas and do that. And when you write the learning outcome, see that it is smart. Smart people will write learning outcome in smart way only. So what is the smart? Your learning outcome should be specific. It should be measurable. You should be able to measure that. Okay. And it should be attainable. It should be realistic. It should be time bound. How I can see some example for attainable and realistic. Specific, you all know. It should align with the content and it should align with the context what you are teaching. Measurable means the assessment what you are giving should be valid enough, and it should be completely compatible to what is the topic or what is the context what you are teaching. And attainable, it should be attainable. You are asking the child, class 10 teach. Somebody's mic is on. Please mute it. You are asking a child. Suppose Sita. Sita is very good in English. She used to score 90% score in English. She's learning in class 10. Okay, but her math score, it is only 56% or 57% in the model examination or in the midterm examination. And you understood that whatever strategies you are implementing, you can stretch to an optimal level of 75% as a teacher, you know. And there is a child, Anand, in the class. He is very good in maths. He is scoring 95% above in maths, but he's scoring very less marks in English. His linguistic competency is bit low, or his linguistic intelligence is not that dominant, whereas his logical intelligence is dominant. To see her linguistic intelligence is more dominant. You are calling both the children, and you are telling, You both of them, see, I am having lots of expectations on you all, and you both should score 95% above in all the subject for the board examination. See how unfair it is. So when you give an assessment, you should see that it is attainable. Asking a child who is dysgraphic or otherwise who is having writing problem, going as an English teacher, you are an English teacher, you are going to the classroom. Madam has told to do the subject enrichment activity, asking all the children, writing on the board, I will write an outline story. This is the subject enrichment activity, what you all have to do right now. Complete the story and submit. Subject enrichment activity over, gave the marks for that 5 or 6 in 5-point scale, you uploaded the marks. How unfair, I'm asking. A child who's dysgraphic, how is going to do that? He can narrate the story well. So there comes the importance of competency-based education. You should be flexible enough to understand that flexibility is needed for the child who is sitting in front of you. The assessment area should be flexible. What is wrong if the child narrates the story? There will be children, my dear teachers, who are sitting in front of you, who finds it difficult to integrate, who cannot recall a story in the right sequence. You just go to the classroom and see. You taught them a story and you will complain to the teacher that the child is not able to narrate the story what I have taught. He is not telling the story in the right order. This child is not able to. And your duty is to make the child able to. So you should understand that children are having problems in memorization, in integration, in expression, in understanding the inputs of what you're talking. See, after this session itself, you will understand what I am speaking as facilitators or educators. You may not be everybody. If you are having 300 participants here, 300 participants may not equally be able to understand in the true essence, in the same way what I have told. So the people are unique. Nobody is superior and nobody is inferior. People are not equal either, but people are simply unique. That we have to understand. Every learner has their own pace and they are unique. So when you write the learning outcome, you have to see that you are following the thumb rule of ABCD. ABCD. At least ABC. D is not that important. If you want, you can have some flexibility when you write D. So what is A? A is the audience. Audience means your student. Always start your learning outcome with SWAT. Student will be able to. SWAT. SWAT. Student will be able to. And let me ask you one yes or no question. Should we tell to the students what is their learning outcome? Yes. At the outset of the session itself, you should tell your students that this should be the learning outcome. The learning outcome should be communicated to the students. And that's what end of the session, whatever is there, it should be considered as the first entity. The student will be able to audience. The second one, the behavior. That means you have to choose the verbs from Bloom's taxonomy. So what is it? First one is SWAT. Student will be able to. Second one is the verbs. Choose the verb correctly from the Bloom's taxonomy and use that. Third one is number 3 is the condition. Under what situation, under what circumstances they are using this. Last one is the degree, means it's the perfection or this is the proficiency, or otherwise we can say it's a performance. Because I can say that after end of this session, 100% of the participants will not be able to sometimes, isn't it? So what I can say is that at least 95% of the participants will be able to write the learning outcome in the ABCD format. So there comes what is the accuracy of the proficiency, or 7 out of 8, whether 87%, whether 90%, how many of the students? Obviously, there will be a learning gap. Whoever is teaching, how much excellency you are having in your teaching area, there will be learning gaps. And finding that and reflecting that and coming again is most important. Okay, see, I have given example. Students will be able to compare. See, the SWAT, audience, the first one. Red is the audience area. SWAT, SWAT, students will be able to compare. I took the verb from the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, compare. And the statistical or the numerical data information. What is the condition? Shown on the graph. I have given a situation there, shown on the graph. Or otherwise, I can say that if it is this class, I can say after shown on the slide, after showing the ABCD slide, my participants will be able to, 90% of the participants will be able to write the learning outcome with at least 7 out of 8, that means 87% accuracy when at the end of the session. Do you have any doubt regarding the ABCD? Did you understand this? And now it's, ma'am, how can we decide the criteria? For what question it was that? I didn't understand. I was not checking the chat box. I took the chat box only right now. I want you all to write the learning outcome. Learning outcome, write and keep. Right now, a learning outcome of any of your topic you are teaching. Please, just 2 minutes time. It differs according to the topic. I know you can choose a topic. You can write one learning outcome of any lesson what you are teaching, just to make you write in the ABCD format. I will be checking only whether it is having an ABCD format. If anyone can put in the chat box, it will be fine. Student will be able to take a verb and see from which area you have chosen the verb, whether it is the evaluation area, whether it is the application area, whether it is a knowledge area, and then write it. The situation also, if you should write, then degree is not that compulsory, but it is good if you are stating the degree, then it will be more smart. Can anyone, because anyway you have to write the learning outcome. Students will be able to differentiate between exothermic and endothermic reaction with at least 4 out of 6 reasons. Wonderful, madam. Wonderful. The student will be able to write simple sentences correctly. When it's good if you are defining there, if you are writing the condition there, madam. Sia, ma'am, if you could write the condition there. Simple sentences when you are teaching what. And if you're writing the degree also, it is fine. The student, the SWAT is there, the verb is there. The only thing is the condition is missing there. Sia, ma'am. Can I get some more inputs, please, in the chat box? Otherwise, you can write in the paper and later on we can. But right now, I will be discussing only which is being written in the chat box. Later, if I have time and I'm doing the Q&A session, I can ask you all to call your, I will be calling the name and asking to read the learning outcome. Student will be able to list the condition required for plant growth. Wonderful. When I teach order of the words in a sentence, okay, that you can mention whatever situation you are giving, that is fine. Students will be able to compare the revenue systems followed during the British rule. Students will be able to list the uses of lenses. Ma'am, learning of grammar only you have written. SWAT I could not see in that. Students will be able to comprehend the meaning of complex words. What I could say is that lacking is the last two things, the condition and degree. Minalini, ma'am, if you could write the condition and degree, it would be fine. Okay, now I will give you all some examples. I am here to make you all write a poem. Poem comes under writing. The composing a poem comes under the it is on the top of the ladder. Okay, so I have taken it as a challenge that I am not a poet, but I can write a poem. That should be the feeling what you all should have in your mind. So my learning outcome is the participants will be able to write. Write comes in the creative level, in the synthesis level, the topmost level of the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, I have chosen the verb write. A small poem. How? Choosing relevant adjectives and adverbs. So my learning outcome or my expectation, my goal is only this. My participant will go into the composing level or the writing level by how will they write a small poem with relevant adjectives and adverbs. All of you get ready with your pen and paper because you all are going to write poem. I am not going to spare you all. At the end of the session, after taking this, one should read the poem. At the end of the session, I will be calling the names and you have to read your own poems. Then only I will be able to understand the learning gap. See, this is it. See this poem, The Moon. That is the topic. A small poem. It's quite interesting. Bright silver. In the night sky, the moon. Spinning through space, silently, slowly. In the night sky, bright silver, shining lost, the moon. Okay. Now see how I have composed this poem. It's a ready-made poem based on all these things. The heading. Name a person, place, animal, or object as the heading. It can be the moon, it can be my mother, it can be the garden, it can be the flower, it can be my car, it can be the chocolate. Okay. Use 2 adjectives to describe that. So here I have used bright silver. If it is your mother, you can use caring, loving. If it's a chocolate, you can use yummy or otherwise, any word, creamy, whatever it is, you can use. And if it is your flower, you can use relevant adjectives for that. Okay. Now the second line is based on this particular question. Where is it? In the night sky. Okay. Repeat the name. Repeat the heading. Then write what is it doing. As my topic is the moon, what is it doing? Spinning through the space. So if it is mother, working tirelessly in the house. Okay. Or if it is your flower, blooming in the garden. So you can say that spinning through the space is the answer for the question, what is it doing? Next is, how is it doing? Silently, slowly, adverbs. Okay. Repeat where it is. Repeat the 2 adjectives. Add 2 more adjectives to your topic and write the heading again. Are you all ready to write the poem? Take a screenshot of this if you want. No problem. This was actually, CBSE had called me to use this in the national conference of Pune. Okay, so I am sharing that with you all. And believe me, all the participants, the principals, I think nearly 600 principals were there. People were coming forward to show me their poem. They felt so happy to say that to write a poem, we need creativity, isn't it? We always have a feeling that we are not creative people. So this is now a shortcut for you all to write the poem. Please, and whoever completes it can unmute and read your poem. Unmute and read a poem. Or Anish Jacob, sir, can you make it a little more bigger, the poem? On a moon day, on a moonlit day, I was dreaming and dreaming how to be a shining star. Great. But my learning outcome is to add adverbs also. So there should be some action, how it is doing. Okay, so then only verb will come and you can modify it with an adverb. Please, it's a golden chance for you all to read out your poem. Who is ready? With the ground rule. Can anyone unmute and read a poem or should we wait for the end of the session? Should we wait for the end of the session?
Binu ma'am.
Yeah, yes, yeah, madam. Please, I'm not able to see you all. That's why I'm asking to please do that, because I'm not checking the participant list. As I'm sharing the screen, I won't be able to.
Okay.
Please raise, please raise.
So I am Sindhu Balagopal.
Oh, great. Ah, yeah.
From
You are
Palakkad.
there.
Yes.
Okay, fine, yeah.
So just words, only words I have written. It is
Yeah,
not a
that's
sort of poem, but
after all, words makes poem, no? It's
yes.
nothing but words.
Okay. So the heading, that is the title of the poem, is Diya.
Ah. Oh, you connected with Diwali.
No.
No, no, okay,
Actually,
okay.
it is she is precious, adorable,
Oh, great.
in my heart and home.
Oh,
Diya, lying on my lap, beautifully, cosily. Then in my heart and home. So repeat the two adjectives: precious, adorable, and beautiful, warm.
repeat the topic. Last.
Diya, she is my
Yeah.
daughter.
Oh God, it's really wonderful. Have you written? Let me ask you, Sidhu ma'am, have you written a poem about your daughter before?
Yes, of course. Sometimes I write for her on her birthdays, just like this, simple poems. That is all.
Great,
Not
wonderfully
very
wonderful.
beautifully worded or something.
But you had completely aligned with the what strategy which I had implemented here. We completely aligning to the what I have framed. According to what I have framed, you have aligned to that. So simply great.
Thank you, ma'am.
For that. Thank you for that. And Diya is so I should say Diya is so blessed to have you in your life, and you are blessed to have Diya in your life.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Is there anybody else who would like to share their poem? I'm giving
Ma'am, shall I?
Yeah, please. Please, why not? Yeah.
Ma'am, I'm
Please
Bindu
tell your
Shivadas.
name.
Bindu Shivadas from Saraswati Vidyalayam.
Okay,
Upati.
okay, ma'am.
My
I've seen you, I think, before in the APP session, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, fine.
Ma'am, my topic is star.
Star.
My two daughter stars. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Cute, clear, in the dark night, the night queens, waving in the silky night, slowly, glowly, in the singing sky, cute, clear, rising the little stars.
Great, wonderful. Thank you. Give her a big applause, I should say. You can use the emoticons of applauding and all, no, or a thumbs up. Why you all are becoming so confused in giving the reaction? You are not allowed to do that. Huh? You can give applauses. You can give. Yeah. Now, can you please, whatever poems you have written, if you could put that in the chat box at the end of the session, we'll be able to read that all. Please do that. I could see one hand. It's Shimi Joseph. Madam, are you ready with your poem? Madam, are you ready? You want to read the poem, or can I move to the next slide? I'll be coming back to you, Sia ma'am and Shimi ma'am, because I could see some hands raised for reading the poem. But one thing, let me go more. Some more slides are there. After that, we will come up. So see, anyway, my objective, my learning outcome, what I had in my mind, I took the highest level, isn't it? The highest level, but was able to at least two poems I could hear. And I'm sure about 60% or 70% of my participants will be able to write a small poem when they follow the rule, the thumb rule of creating a small poetry like this. Okay. Now, so what you have to check when you write the learning outcome? I think you all might have written the learning outcome. Let us have a self-assessment checklist of how you are going, of the learning outcome, what you have written. See, is your learning, put in the chat box whether yes or no. I need only yes or no. Okay. Or otherwise give thumbs up when you, when your answer is yes, or otherwise if you hadn't done, you can put thumbs down, no problem. Okay. Just to know, did your outcome start with an action? Have you chosen an action from the Bloom's taxonomy? Yes or no, please? Good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. Now, have you chosen? Okay, great. Have you chosen the appropriate verb? Have you chosen the appropriate verb? Good. Is your outcome matching with the content or the contest? Does your outcome match to the real life contest? Activity selected provide enough time for learners to achieve the outcome. Is your activity what you had selected? Okay, does it provide enough time for the outcome? Is your learning outcome concise? So you should write, I think you haven't written LAR, I think. You have written only a learning outcome. Have you written the mode of activity, what you are going to do, and have you written the assessment, what you are going to do? If not, after writing the learning outcome, please write the activity which you will be doing for that particular topic you have selected, and write what will be the assessment, what you will be doing for that particular topic you have selected. LAR. Okay, I'm checking with the LAR. So learning outcome should be having appropriate verb, ABCD rule should be there. Apart from that, activity what you select should be having enough time for the learner to do. Your learning outcome is concise. Number 5, is it concise? So if you are putting 5 and putting Y, I will understand whether 5 is there. Or if you're putting 6 and if you're putting F, then I can understand. Is your learning outcome concise? Is it small? Can students easily understand the learning outcome written? Did you use the SWOT format? Student will be able to. Did you use that? Good. Is your LO specific? These are the checklists what you have to keep in your mind. Is your LO measurable? Is your LO realistic? Is it attainable? And does it align to the context and the content? Okay. Does it have the value, ability, and the knowledge? Does it clearly define the expectation of the learners? And does it use, did you use unclear or vague language like understand and comprehend? And did your assessment connect to the LO? Okay. So if there is no problem, take a screenshot of this if you want, and then try later on, because this is a two-hour session. I know that it's not possible to write all the learning outcome in 2-hour session. After this, do it as a home assignment. And if you want, you can send into my personal number, no problem. I can check and see whether you are able to write the learning outcome correctly. But take a screenshot of the checklist and check yourself whether you were able to write it in the needed format or the format which CBSE mandates. Now let us come to the pedagogical strategies which we have to implement to bring out competitive-based education in your classroom. Why? Because we talk lots about experiential learning. And I remember one principal calling me and telling me, asking me to conduct a class on art integrated learning. And he was telling that, madam, you need not speak about experiential learning. You speak about only art integration. Why? Because my teachers know experiential learning. So I could say that I felt really sorry for that. Why? Because experiential learning is such a big vision what CBSE is dreaming of. It's a goal. It's a big dream. And for reaching that goal, you have to use certain alternative pedagogical strategies like multiple intelligence, project-based learning, art integration, storytelling, play-based method, role play, or simulations. All these alternative pedagogical strategies should be implemented in the classroom to reach experiential learning or to bring experiential learning into your classroom. Okay, experiential learning cannot stand alone. Experiential learning is learning through experience. Making the experience, when you change that into learning, it becomes learning experience. Okay, so what is experiential learning? Experiential learning, according to Professor G. Kolb, is nothing but grasping the experience and transforming the experience. Okay. Now, see this. For the things which we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them. This was, let me ask you one thing. Can you tell whose quote is this? Whose quote is this? Is experiential learning a new thing? Is it a new thing? Is it something which was coined by CBSE? John Chevy. I got an answer from Vinci ma'am. It is John Chevy. Can I get some more inputs, please? No problem if you are making any mistake. Just make you understand that experiential learning is nothing new. It was here years before. My dear friends, this was coined. This is something which has been told by Aristotle. Yeah, very good. Aristotle in 350 BC in his book Nicomachean Ethics, where he clearly states that if you want to learn things, you should make children do them, learn by doing them. It was there in our Gurukulam system we were having years before. Wasn't it experiential learning? The only thing was that argumentative culture was not there because critical thinking was not there. Problem solving may not be there. Critical thinking was not there much in Gurukul system. Moreover, the culture was more of obedience rather than having an argumentative, because nowadays competency means we are making the child competent to take any role in their life, isn't it? So they may argue. Don't get irritated by that. They will talk to you when they feel that you are not talking to them logically. They may argue with you. So let us see quickly. Let us see. I know you all know what is experiential learning, but let us see that experiential learning cycle is divided into 4 quadrants. 4 phases are there. First area is where we give children activity. Okay, where children activity. Second one is you should make the child reflect on what is being taught. The third is from the reflection, from the thinking process, the child should have some sort of conceptualization. And then later on, the child should be able to do active experimentation. When you are using any sort of strategies, pedagogical strategies, and when you take the child through all these 4 phases, only we can say that experiential learning is taking place. Like I told that the child later on should be able to construct a word problem of their own. 3 into 5 is equal to 15 is not enough. Okay. Give pupils something to do, not something to learn. And doing is of such a nature as to demand thinking. Learning will naturally result. That means we all have that innate capacity to learn, because we did not learn to walk and talk as somebody had taught us, right? We acquisited it. So the children will acquisite a lot of things. We need not worry about how the learning is going to happen. You give a proper climate for that, proper resources for that. So what should be the pedagogical perceptions you all are having? It should be student-centered. It should be joyful. If the children should go into the deeper level of understanding, or otherwise research-based methods should be implemented. The children should learn lifelong learning skills from the teaching learning areas, what you are doing. And certain notions, certain traditional notions should be changed. One thing is that you should learn to design your lesson plan in multidisciplinary, and project-based learning should be implemented. What is the difference between projects and project-based learning? Anybody know? I thought I'm going into project-based learning of experiential learning, because I thought that competency or competency-based education will not be complete if we are not talking about experiential learning. And experiential learning, to implement experiential learning, at least if I'm teaching you all one method, one strategy, it will be helpful for you all to work with other strategies and implement that. So you have to go into a self-directed learning process, more into. That means project is something what you give at the end of the unit, isn't it? PBL is something which is the unit itself. You will be teaching the concept with the PBL. And the things which you have to change is that instead of asking, instead of calling the classroom, calling the, where the children learn, instead of calling that environment as classroom, learn to call it as work. Okay, formative assessment is very much needed. Teamwork is needed. As a facilitator, you have greater role to play. The teacher should set the goal for the learner. As a facilitator, I should say the children are having lots of resource crunches actually. So when PBL is implemented, when you are going for a PBL method, project-based learning method in your classroom, you should see that you as a facilitator should give the initial resources to the children. You should act as a initial person who will be communicating with the stakeholders or to the community, because PBL will be complete only when the product, when we show that to some external people also, isn't it? There should be some connection with the community. The children should go into a research work. You should be the person who will be collecting the documents. So the teacher or the facilitator have great roles to play when it comes to PBL. So I will give you 6 steps to implement project-based learning in your classroom. If you focus on the 6 steps, no doubt you will be able to implement PBL. PBL is the best method, I will say, for implementing experiential education. So somebody's microphone is on, please mute that. So what is the first one? Start with an essential question. Second is designing a plan. Third one is creating a schedule. Fourth is monitoring the progress of the student and the project as a whole, assessing the outcome, evaluate the expression. Let's see, number 1, what is, how you can frame a question. This is the core, this is the heart of what I can say PBL. If you have the art of framing questions, 70% of your work is over. See, what are the hindrances which comes to your mind? What are the obstacles? What are the threats you feel that to implement project-based learning in your classroom? First thing is that you will complain that you don't have enough time. But I can say, if you give 5 questions to your children, divide them into 5 groups, give 5 questions to your children, your work is over. But when you give the question, you should see that it is open-ended. It should not be a yes or no question. It should be insightful. It should create some sort of curiosity. It should be authentic. It should deal on an authentic situation or topic. If you are teaching with river pollution, is it compulsory that you should teach them or you should ask them to research about Bharatapura or Ganga? What is the problem if you are from Kottayam district? What is the problem when you are asking them to do a research study on Meenachilar itself? What is the problem if you find a nearby pond and if you ask the children to give questions like that, ask the children to find out what is the statistics of the river pollution or how the river has changed in the last 5 or 6 years, or the pond has changed under 5 or 6 years. So give something which the children can associate. Okay. And the questions what you frame does not be something where it is the area for you to show your knowledge. Rather, it should be age appropriate. I have here some questions which is multidisciplinary. See, suppose the topic is of river pollution. Now see what question number 1. Question number 1 is it which subject it is connected to? Why you are asking for attendance form right now after the session only, madam? See, the first question, is there a pattern in which the ponds, streams and lakes make people sick and which do not? It is having science, it is having biology, isn't it? See the next one. Why we might get sick if we go swimming in that pond? What is it? Which all subjects are subjects you can see in that? The next one, what percentage of people get sick? Maths. What are the physical characteristics of the ponds and streams that people are getting sick? Chemicals, what are there? So again, science has been implemented. See the next question. What is the scale of organisms within water? Again, mathematics. How you can frame multidisciplinary questions. How has this pond changed over time in the past 40 years? See how history has been, social studies has been integrated into this. So you should see that the questions what you give to the children should be multidisciplinary. Design a plan where the teacher should see that the content should be clearly addressed. They should have the complete or give the children complete ownership of the project. Design a timeline, but be flexible with the timeline. You can be firm and flexibility should be there. If you feel that the child is going in different directions, no problem, let them go. They might come with more insightful ideas. Okay. But when you have to bring them back when they digress, when they're going beyond the focus area, then you have to bring them back. This is very important that you have to concentrate. You have to focus not only on the product, but you have to focus on 3 areas. That means how the process is going on, how the progress of the child is going on, and how the product is. So evaluation should be done. The rubric should be set on the process, on the progress, and on the product. And for the team also, whether any child was left out, whether all the children were participating in the project-based learning. So give rubrics for the product as well as for the process which is going on. So when you frame the rubrics, always see that the rubric should be there for what all elements are required, what all skills have been upskilled, or what all skills you are focusing on, whether it is clearly aligning to the content. So 4th one was evaluation, and 5th one is assessing the outcome. How to write the outcome, we know, we already knew how to write the outcome. So assess the outcome. How? By giving feedbacks, correct feedbacks at times, and it helped you to set the standards. Set the standards means to give bench. The child should know what are the benchmarks. Okay, whether my project is, or whether my process, how I am going, whether it is aligning to the benchmarks or to the standards of the objective of my teacher. So when you give feedbacks should always be immediate. Okay, when you give feedbacks actually is for understanding what is the problem, whether any learning gap has occurred. So you should assess 3 P's in project-based learning. That is the process, the progress, and the product. Now the last one is evaluating the expression. Without reflection, you cannot complete the experiential learning cycle. So when you do project-based learning in your classroom, for any topic you can use, isn't it? So see that at times you're doing brainstorming sessions. Ask the child to reflect upon the process, what they are doing. Validate those reflections, validate their suggestions. They can see all the children cannot participate in the group discussions what we are conducting, isn't it? Some children will be introverts, I should say, or otherwise they will be having more intrapersonal skills. They will be not much interested in they won't be people smart. So what you can ask them to keep a journal. Let them write the reflections in that, how the process has gone. So 2 types of reflections you can have. One is keeping a journal. Second one is having the group reflection. So this is something wonderful, I should say, how you can connected with art. See, this was done by Harvard University, keeping this in as a metaphor, the artist palette as a metaphor. What you have to do is that you have to see the 6 thinking dispositions are happening in your classroom. When all these 6 think dispositions are happening in your classroom, you can clearly say that learning is happening in the true essence. Okay. I will now, I think it's time. So I'm not going to talk on this. This is something which is connected with art integration. Now I could give you some idea on project-based learning, I think. Art integration, it's a different topic. So this was a slide for the entire, for a 9 to 3 session. Okay, art integration I used to take at that time. For this, I have given some idea on project-based learning. But art integration also, one thing is very important. You should make the children observe certain things, and then you should make them describe the observation. When you do that, definitely lots of changes will happen to your child. For example, see, one example I can say, just one example. See, when you see this picture, I will take only 2-3 minutes. When you see this picture, what is coming to your mind? Please put it in the chat box. What is coming to your mind when you see this picture? Because competency-based education, I told that without connecting, we cannot move forward. And that connection should be extended. So when you see this picture, what is coming to your mind? Can you put in the chat box anything? What is coming to your mind? It can be, when I showed this in a class, they showed, somebody was telling that a train in motion. Somebody told me that nostalgia, holidays of going home, flood, train. The goods train is either moving left or interlinked. Great. Tour, journey. Okay. A train is moving back years. That means your childhood maybe. Sometimes I couldn't see any picture. I have already shown a pictures, madam. Okay, travel. Okay, great. See, now you show something like this before entering to the classroom. If you want to take shapes, first show this picture and ask the children what did they understand. Then after taking the content, you show this picture again and see this. This do as a daily practice if possible in your classroom. I used to think before learning this and after learning this, what I used to think. Now my question is, what you used to think about learning outcome before coming to this classroom? After coming to the classroom, after coming to this particular session, what did you understand about learning outcome? So this should be a daily practice. Because of time restrictions, I'm moving to the last slide. At least that you have to show. Which one? How to observe, how to connect, and how to extend. So my dear teachers, what you have to understand is that you are teaching or you are dealing with the biggest resource of the country, and don't fill them with mere information. Give them some insightful ideas so that you can develop them holistically. Usually I used to conclude all my session with a prayer by Maria Montessori. Oh Lord, help me to dwell into the secrets of each child so that I will be able to develop them holistically. Thank you. I think I am on time. Thank you. Now let it be a question and answer session if it's possible. I know that I was rushing a little bit regarding the project-based learning because that is not it was not actually needed, but I thought if it is integrated, you will get some idea regarding PBL. And if possible, if you have any doubt, yeah, please, madam. Who's that?
I'm Sumaya Mira from Rajagiri Amala CMI Public School Academic Coordinator.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we teachers are expecting such sessions from CBSE. It was such a wonderful session, ma'am. We
Thank you so
request you
much.
to conduct such sessions again and again for us, because we will be motivated and will be trained and will be the best also.
Thank you
Please do
so
it
much for
again and
that.
again conduct.
Because I was thinking that too much of informations may create problems for you. That's why I skipped the art integration part. But art integration part, maybe some other point time. But for CBSE, COE, I'm taking art integration and project-based learning also. If you are
Ma'am,
interested,
we
you
are
can.
ready to attend if you conduct it, ma'am. Please.
Sure, madam. Sure.
Your class was so good, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good.
So I would like to hear 2-3 poems, if you would allow me, Neelakandan sir, because
Madam, take your own time.
Sure,
Floor
ma'am,
is
sure.
yours. Floor is yours, ma'am.
Because I'm always concerned about the time, because I know that because I have lots of other things which you have to do, and you are taking 2 hours from that, and you are sitting and attending a session, and I don't want to create problems for you all. So that's the reason I had skipped little bit. Thank you so much for all the good comments, but I would like to hear 2-3 poems from your side. The cake, scrumptious, spongy on my plate. The cake that tempting me to take a bit gloriously, radiantly on my plate. Scrumptious, spongy, gorgeous, creamy, the cake. Great, Minalini. Ma'am, it's wonderful what you have written. So, see, please go and be free to give your children the art of writing poetry. They are going to enjoy this. Even for teaching also, you can use this, okay, to teach verbs, to teach nouns, to teach a new concept. Write a poetry and teach. That is nothing but art integration. Why do we say that for us, art integration is something which we have to, what I should say, that we are taking effort to implement art integration. Rather, it should be something which unknowingly comes. As I told, when I am sleeping, when my mother pour water, I should know that she is teaching me Newton's second law. When children are playing basketball, we should know that when they pass the balls, it's nothing but they are, again, Newton's law is there. Energy, because from the rest position, the ball is being passed. Newton's second law. Again, the ball is having lots of bumps on it. Friction is there. So the child should be able, whatever we see, the child should be able to connect. I am not talking hypothetically. My teachers are there in the session, I think. We are implementing project-based learning in our school. Every 2 months, I give a topic for all the children. Because it is LP, UP, high school, likewise, we give age-appropriate topics, but we are implementing this. Actually, project-based learning should be done in the classroom by the teachers, but as I personally will not be able to monitor each and every classroom, and I want to implement that in my school, I am giving it 2 months. After that, we'll give, for 2 months, we give a topic. So last topic, I think for 8, 9, 10 was the topic I gave was that of planning the budget. You should see how wonderfully the children came for the seminar. They have created 5-6 slides. That is not a big thing. But the big thing was that some had taken naming ceremony, some had taken reception. And the big thing what I felt is that they even went to the catering people, and then they asked what is the rate of one plate. We have only, madam has given, the teacher has given only 2 lakhs rupees. And how we should do this, how we have to plan the budget. Adults were part of that. The parents were part of that. Okay. So try to implement. I'm there to help you all. If you want, you can write my number and keep. And if you have any doubt in implementing PBL, you can call me anytime. I would be very happy to help you all. Thank you. 94971 99882. If you want any help, I'll give in the chat box.
Ma'am, any certificate is available for attending this
That
session?
is, I don't know, that is coordinator, Ranjit sir will talk about it.
No, I will be able to
Amodya.
answer to that question.
Ah,
Yeah, see, the thing is that, I have already given a link in the chat box. They can register it. If anyone want a certificate, they have to pay 100 rupees. The certificate will be sent you through their mail. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So already given the Google link. So I can post once again. So they can get. Okay.
So I would like to extend my gratitude to Neelakandan sir and to Ranjit sir for having me here. And it was nice interacting with such a wonderful team of people. Thank you so much and happy learning, and we'll meet some other time. Thank you.
So any of the teacher, I mean the participant can give a vote of thanks to madam. That will be more nice because, by being an organizer, it will be more, it's like an official thing. So if any of the learner will be sharing their vote of thanks, that will be more nice. That's what we do every time. So any of the participant can do this, please.
Sure, sir. Sir, it was a wonderful session and we really enjoyed. 2 hours. It was, I felt it is a short time because we enjoyed the session. Joyous learning occurred really. And now we are competent and it has given us a proper guidance also. And we are strong enough to guide the coming generations. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. So my objective was to create competent people. And Neelakandan sir, I think I could achieve that at least 80 to 90%.
Yeah, because today we have participants of 300 participants today, along with the YouTube around 50. So it is like, it's a nice viewer, nice participant. And all of this had learned something through this webinar. It will be implemented in each of their schools. That will give more clarity in education, what CBSE wanted. And we are very happy that we could be able to provide this much of valuable training session to all over India, rest of every school in Kerala. Thank you so much, madam. It was a very wonderful session. What everyone have already told about that. Anyway, thank you so much. Whoever wanted to attend our upcoming session, already the form is there. You can select the subject which you have already registered. You can do that anytime. Okay, so it
can
will
I leave the session? May I leave the
thank
session?
you, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.